Greetings everyone, it's IT2. Today I want to catch you guys up on this series, Cradle. Can I get this to stay in the corner? There we go. By Wight. Will Wight. Wight is like an undead zombie. Anyway, last time I think I talked about Ghostwater, Underlord, and Uncrowned. I think Ghostwater is still my favorite book. I finished the whole series now, except for the last book that hasn't been released yet. This picture only has Wintersteel, Bloodline, Reaper. That's the three on the, and then Dreadgod I just finished. So this is like a 4-book review altogether. I mean, there's not really much more I could say. I've already made so many videos about this series. It's basically a progression fantasy anime style. Would be an awesome video game, and it just gets crazy. It's about this guy, Weishi Lindon, and this girl that he meets, and they just try to become the strongest people in the world, like Dragon Ball Z, because he's from a place that everybody's like super weak compared to the rest of the world, and they don't realize it. And once he gets out, he has to like save them because something bad's going to happen in the future. And there are these like meta godlike figures that are like outside of the story. They're so massive, they pretty much, you could take one of their weapons can like destroy a whole planet, cut it off from the way. The way is like a big blue, think of it like a grapevine where all the planets and universes are all like connected like bunches of grapes. And some of these beings are so powerful, some of them are evil, and they're trying to like spread this corruption and like take these planets off of the way. So these other beings that are good, they're so powerful they can pretty much, like, if somebody destroys a planet, they can just reverse time and like bring everybody back to life almost. But not if it's been too long of a time or something. It's like they don't really explain the rules. But one of these beings encounters Weishi Lindon on this one planet called Cradle. And that's because Cradle is like this place where everybody tries to advance their sacred arts, martial arts, whatever. They get super powerful, like. And then they advance up into these beings. They get to ascend off of their planet and join these people. I guess other planets can do that too. The planets have really interesting names. But anyway, Wintersteel, there's this tournament going on, and the girl, Yeren, she is like winning the tournament. Lindon got disqualified or something. I forgot what happened. He lost. Oh, in the tournament they kill you, but they bring you back to life as soon as you're dead, because these people that are on the planet, the strongest people on the planet, are called monarchs, and they can do pretty much anything, almost. And then you got these other beings called dread gods. So you got these sacred beasts, and they can advance up to this point called a dread god, apparently. But I don't know if that's really how it works. I don't think they can all advance. There's dragons. There's this guy. There's a turtle dragon that's like Lindon's partner. It's like a destruction magic guy. But like, just below Monarch, there's heralds, and then there's sages. Sages kind of manifest an icon. So there's like a blood sage, a sword sage, a void sage. Lindon's the void sage because he has like 2 styles of magic. He splits his core into like a pure core and a destruction core. One can like just nullify anything because it's so pure. That's why he manifested the Void Sage because of that. Yeren becomes the Sword Herald. She was going to become the Sword Sage, but then something happened. She had this blood being, like a parasite that she bonded with, and it made like a copy of herself. And she could either like absorb the copy into herself, or like keep it like a separate being, where she would have 2 of them. I think then she would have been like the Blood Sage. Yeah. I don't even know what kind of herald she is. If she's a sword herald, she's kind of like this weird proto-herald that nobody had ever seen before. Because usually when you get these blood parasites, you can't really bond with them correctly or something. That's why the Sage of Blood, the herald, Red Faith is his name. He's like trying to like figure out how she did it. So she ends up winning the tournament, and she gets like this moonlight bridge where she can like teleport, like Goku. It just gets fucking badass. Wintersteel, probably that's a 5-star one. That one looks really good. Bloodline kind of dips a little. It's kind of like this whole journey into this temple where you find out the Dread Gods, there's 5 of them. There's 4 that they know of, and then there's one called Subject 1, and he's like kept inside this temple, which is like a prison, and the reason he's the town Yaren's from is so weak is because there's this big field been placed around it, because that's where that temple is, because it's the only way to keep this guy in check. So, I think this guy Reagan Shin goes in there and tries to like subdue him or get his technology or something. I don't think he ever had to really fight him because he was so weak or something, and he like, there's all these like artifacts everywhere, and there's like, the temples are connected to the other temples in the world, to these teleportation tunnels or something. It's really weird. Anyway, Lindon goes down there, and he finds Subject 1's arm, and he replaces his arm with that arm, or he uses the core binding on it to upgrade his arm, because he's got this arm that this guy Northstrider, who's one of the monarchs, taught him how to like consume things, so he can like pretty much take all your energy that you're putting at him and just suck it up and like convert it into energy he can use and just get stronger. So instead of like having to kill things that are stronger than you and level up, he just pretty much could just absorb it. That's how strong he is. So yeah, then you find out this big secret that the monarchs, instead of advancing up into this way with all these what are they called, Abergiant? The people that are like godlike beings, if they leave the Dread Gods, no, if you kill one of the Dread Gods, the other 3 get stronger. But also the monarchs want the Dread Gods to be alive because it allows them to exist or something. So yeah, the monarchs don't want to kill the Dread Gods, even though they could if they all teamed up on one. And I don't know how they have to kill them all at once, pretty much, because the other ones get stronger. And then they're going to get strong enough where you couldn't kill them, but they need them for some reason. I don't really get it. I don't know, but it's really interesting. Anyway, Lyndon, when he takes that arm, he kind of becomes a Dread God himself, because he's got a Dread God's arm. And he declares himself, and he ends up killing one of the Dread Gods. There's one called the Silent King. He's like a white tiger. He's not gigantic or anything, but he's like a mind control tiger. And like everybody, and he can take up like a whole city, just like mind control the whole city. And they all have these little crowns over their head because he's taken them over. And even like super powerful beings like heralds, he can take over. Monarchs can resist it. Maybe some sages and stuff, but most people that he's mind controls them. And then Lyndon ends up killing that thing. And then I don't know, he had this like soul bond where he couldn't tell anybody the secret. He figured it out, but he couldn't tell anybody. But Yaren kind of figured it out on her own, so he made it where she could tell everybody. So then in Reaper, Ethan, the guy that's been teaching him and Yaren all this stuff, you find out he's actually one of these godlike beings, the Reaper, and he has to leave. So then Lyndon has to kind of do everything himself, and he kind of just is strong as monarchs, but he's not a monarch himself, and he's just like owning everybody. And then maybe that's a Dread God. Dread God's more like, yeah, he's just doing everything himself. Reaper's more about finding out about Ethan and what he has to do up in the way, and I can't remember what was going on Earth during that time. I think he's pretty much just, Lyndon's trying to get everybody up to his level to get all of his friends. I think there's this girl Mercy. Her mother is like one of these monarchs, so they're kind of in conflict. And you've got this spirit that was helping him cleanse his Madra, or whatever it's called. She's kind of upgraded to almost like a super powerful being herself. So he's got like this team. And this other guy he found in Ghostwater, he used to be an Archmage, and he got injured. Now he's like being healed. He's becoming back into an Archmage again. So yeah, he's got this whole squad, and he's like leveling them up to like his level. And it's just crazy. Yeah, Dread God was maybe a 4 out of 5. I don't think people would consider it as good. Reaper, I think, was pretty good, although I can't remember exactly what all happened in it. This all seems like one big long story to me. I think the last book is coming out this year. Let's see here. Cradle, how many years are there? Let's see. Waybound. That's the next one. So I guess Lyndon's going to become one of these great powerful beings in the way. in the next book. Oh yeah, there's a weeping dragon. I didn't tell you about that. He's one of the dread gods. He's like a big storm dragon. And then there's the wandering titan. He's like a big dude. He's just a big strong guy. He's like super strong. I mean, there's so many levels of strong. He's just like a massive. I think of him as one of those like giants that come out of the ocean and WoW, but bigger. I think he might have a sword sometimes. Then there's the bleeding phoenix, which is a giant bird that bleeds on the ground, and the blood drops become people that fight you, and it's like a big plague. Pretty bad stuff. It's very powerful stuff. I saw. I said that there's very powerful beings on this planet. That's my Trump impression. So now there's this book called The Captain by Wight that I've got, and it's supposed to be really good sci-fi. It looks like the guy has a wand and a laser pistol on the cover, so I don't know what the fuck's going on with that. This guy, Wight, is crazy. So I'll probably be reading that sometime in the future soon.